All right, guys, before we move on, just to let you know, if you have certain watches that maybe you want to trade in, or perhaps you have a watch you've been looking for that you really want, but you're not sure how you can get it, we can actually help do it for you. Just fill in the details in the Google form in the comment section or the description. Either we'll already have what you want, or we will do everything we can to get it for you. So yeah, comment section and description. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now this week's episode and next week's episode, so actually, it's going to be so fascinating. When we came up with this topic, we don't know whether it's going to be a hit online, but I know we are going to have a lot of fun. So today with me is just Mike. We don't have Jensen today because he is expecting or already has a newborn. Right, so congratulations. Send your best wishes in the comments. But we're going to go straight into it. Right?
Also to make sure that maybe this topic is a bit too sensitive. So
that's why he don't want to come. Too scared, Anyway, so we will split the video into two. There'll be a part 2 for this. Part 1 will be Western leaders, mainly US. And then we'll talk about Asian leaders, which is way more fun. So stay tuned for next week, right? Asian leaders are a lot more fun. But we start with the Western leaders, right? So one thing very interesting that you told me was each US president in general, right? They're actually not that flashy.
Right? They are not.
Very, very surprising because they are the
most powerful leader in the world.
But they're not very flashy, right? But maybe let's start with what do I have here? Let's go in chronological order. Okay.
Sure,
so we start right on top. JFK.
So
the most handsome president, maybe.
Yeah, man. I love this guy. So you look, I mean that throughout our research, or you know that there is one very prominent brand that associate himself with all the presidents is Rolex president. I mean the name itself is already called a Rolex president, right? So as a Rolex president is actually a day just with a day. So with here it's called a date watch. So the watch itself comes with a day and a date, and then the bracelet itself is in president style, which means it's not an oyster, it is not a jubilee, but a president bracelet. So it's a 3-piece, smoother, rounder version of the oyster. So that's why that particular watch in yellow gold particularly is known as the president's watch.
Now that you mention it, a lot of president watches are yellow gold.
It has to be yellow gold. So I have something here that is looks like the date. So you can actually see there's a day here. And there's a date. So there is a homage of the date. So
it looks smoother. It looks like it's more cylindrical.
Right. Okay. So you can see the day is at 12 o'clock and then the date is at 3. Right. So okay, I mean that when it comes to president, this Rolex, this model actually got his nickname from US president. So
this is something that Rolex designed specifically for presidents.
Actually, the answer is yes and no. They actually launched the date with a the Jubilee bracelet, which is the one which we show just now to all the audience, back in 1956. So that time is known as a date watch.
Right.
So it was actually given to one of the earlier presidents, but the president actually never wore it, because you know that most of the presidents, they want to have the image in Western that they are close to the rakyat, they are close to the citizen. They want to associate themselves with all the poor fellas. They don't want to be so flashy. So he actually never wore that watch. And then the second US president who was being this was actually a gift to him, which is Kennedy.
JFK,
But he actually never wore it, and
so before him would have been, if I'm not mistaken, President Eisenhower.
Should be one of the.
He's the general. He's the one that rejected it. So JFK was gifted.
JFK was gifted, but he never wore, and he never admitted that he actually has a Rolex date, because it was actually given to him on his birthday. Mary Monroe, I think all of us know.
the famous actress
sang him a birthday song and give him a watch, and just told his guys and says that get rid of this watch. To make sure that, you know, he's a married man. So this is some part of the history says that this is a scandal, but to him, he thinks that it's not a scandal.
So he never wore it?
Never accepted it at all. But the watch was later on being auctioned. So that watch definitely existed. And behind the watch, there is some carving.
Yeah.
From who to who and what day. So yeah, just go and check out, Google it. It's a spicy story. Some very nice and spicy stories. Just go and Google it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the official person who wore this watch is actually LB Johnson.
Which is right. I think it's right after him.
JF Kennedy.
Yeah.
Yes.
JFK was assassinated, I think, 1962.
Yeah. On the same day itself, he was.
So LBJ. Okay.
LBJ. Yeah. So he's the one that actually wore the yellow color day date, and he actually told Rolex that he prefers the president bracelet because it actually is more comfortable for him to wear, and it looks a bit more masculine at the time. So he's the one that actually the first US president that wore a Rolex day date, and then hence it was so famous in yellow gold. Eventually, Rolex even came out with a poster saying that this is the president's watch.
President's watch.
So throughout the whole America, the history of America, a lot of presidents, not only these LBJ war president, even later on there are some other presidents that go after this also wore a president. And
so why do you think Rolex designed the watch, the president watch in that way, specifically for president? What were they trying to achieve? The specific type of
look. So there's one interview with LBJ.
Now, guys, if you have a watch in mind that you want us to review that we haven't reviewed yet, just let us know in the comments, right? We'll definitely respond to that and get to you ASAP.
First of all, I think because for presidents, I think their schedule itself are very, very tight.
Yes.
So maybe they can't remember, that today is what day, because president itself, the dial itself actually shows you the day and the date.
Right.
So this is one thing. Second thing, I think yellow gold is a sense of precious metal. And then I think maybe this is where the US, maybe leaders, they want to slightly differentiate themselves a bit from the normal Rolexes. So the normal Rolexes are made from stainless steels and whatever, right? But what they wore is a very simple yellow gold. At that time,
it's gold plated lah, is that right?
No, it's solid gold.
It's solid gold?
Yeah, but it's not expensive. During the era, it is not expensive because until today, all of us know that actually stainless steel watches are more sought after compared to the gold watches. So I think that it's justifiable that they wore the watch itself. It's not too flashy. There's no diamond on top. There's no diamond in it. Wait till you see other leaders. Apart from other world, this is nothing.
But sticking to the US, right? So we talked about Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yeah. So
how about the ones that maybe we are more familiar with? The Bush, Clintons, Obamas, Trumps, Bidens.
Yeah.
Anything? They're all the same.
Okay. So for Bush itself, the one that the most famous that he and Clinton actually wore is a Timex. So
Timex, okay.
It's a Timex watch. So Timex watch is battery powered, very easy. People think that you are executive, you are always on the go, no hustle. Very, very down to earth type of watch. When Obama was around that time, there is a brand that he wore, and then that particular watch brand hype it up and says that this is the new president's watch. But
didn't really work lah.
Yeah, you are not a Rolex, so it doesn't really work. But after that, we also spot that Rolex, Obama actually wore a Rolex as well. It's a Cellini. So he
Cellini,
okay. Yeah, so he wore a Cellini. And our favorite, not favorite, the world's most talk about US president, which is Donald Trump. Definitely, yes, he has a Rolex president in yellow gold, for sure. And then up to now, even like Biden, he doesn't has a this Rolex president, but he has a Rolex Datejust in blue.
Okay.
In Jubilee. And he is also the first president, US president, who actually wore a Omega.
Oh.
Interesting, right?
Oh, what kind of, do you remember the type of Omega? Is it Seamaster?
Speedmaster. Speedmaster. So be surprised. Then, at the same era, another world leader, not in the Western, also wore a Omega. Okay. So we're going to talk about that.
We'll talk about it later.
Next episode.
For sure. So, moving away from presidents, leaders, I think you mentioned something very interesting, which is before this filming, Warren Buffett actually wanted...
Warren Buffett
has a
he
Rolex.
was a Rolex. president. I think that is his most luxury thing that he has. I mean,
life,
the car he
And
drove.
how much is a typical President Rolex now?
Look, I mean, that if you got it from boutique itself, it's about 150,000 ringgit Malaysia, 150, 160,000. In the secondary market, the price is maybe close to about 200 grand.
Whoa.
Yep. So I mean, if you ask me, the premium itself is not too much. And look, those days when you walk into a Rolex, usually you can see President on the shelf quite easy. But nowadays, President is also it's already also a hot product. I mean, a lot of people. It's not only world leaders who chase after President nowadays. I mean, there are a lot of successful businessmen in America, a lot of successful businessmen in Malaysia. So to them, the so-called the icon watch model for a successful businessman is
I made it
is a Rolex President.
Really?
It's not a just it has to be a yellow gold President. Right?
And I don't know if you're aware of the history of the prices. Has it held its value?
Oh yes, definitely. Yes. I mean, even though like just now you mentioned that Donald Trump and Warren Buffett got his president, I think that time he
35.
paid about 35.
Apparently like 35,000 US dollars.
Exactly.
Like
now it's about 200 grand. So Warren Buffett also did openly tell that he would like to own
the entire,
Rolex, the company, but too bad because Rolex is under a foundation, a family foundation. So it's not for sale. So I mean, you can you imagine that the god of shares investing says that he wants to own a piece of Rolex.
Yeah.
You can imagine how good is this company.
The brand is immeasurable. Like so, I mean, from the investor's perspective, so I can chip in here. So if you are enjoying the video so far, always remember to support us by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Click on the notification bell so whenever new videos pop, you'll know it right away. He said that whenever you invest in a company, you need to invest in a moat, a company that has a moat, which is just a fancy word for something that can protect the profits of the company.
Sure.
So he said that there's one type of moat, they call it the status moat. So it's a very powerful moat because you buy the object, it can be a watch, can be a ring, can be something, and it gives you a sense of like you made it lah, association, right?
Yeah.
And it's very powerful because then people start becoming less rational, right? For them, any price they'll take
because I've made it.
Yeah, and that's the best kind of business, right? Because
exactly.
When the clients don't think of the price straight away, right?
Yes.
And that's very so maybe I can give some insights there. But what about we talk a lot about US, right? But this is more like a Western sort of episode, right?
Yeah.
How about the other leaders?
So you
the European leaders.
The European leaders.
Something very interesting, you tell me that a lot of German leaders actually don't own German watches.
Yeah, look, I mean that if you follow us in our past episodes, I always say that the only brand that can actually compete with Patek Philippe is actually Lange Zonne. So
this is a German brand,
is a German brand. It's a very good watch.
And Patek is a Swiss.
Patek is a Swiss watch, right? So I mean, you thought that people from Germany would actually at least wore a German
they support
Lange, and it's such a good watch, right? I mean that no, the the leader don't wear a German watch. Even the French president don't wear a French watch. Both of them wear a Swiss watch. So you can imagine how powerful is the Swiss brand. And I can tell you most of the world leaders at least will own one Rolex for sure. Yeah, so Rolex is so powerful that you do not need to do any marketing for them.
No, the name is the marketing.
Name itself
people
is
understand,
marketing.
people know.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're talking about, I'm not too sure that you talk about Western leaders. Do you want to include in leaders like Russia, Putin, or?
Yeah, I think Moscow is closer to the West than the East lah. So you did mention something very interesting about
Putin,
right? That he actually owns a German watch.
He actually owns a lot of. He's a watch connoisseur, he actually owns a lot of very high level, high status watch models, not only the brand. So he has Patek Philippe, he has Rolex for sure. He has so many good brands under his belt, and those models are not just a normal model, right? But the one that he is famous of wearing is actually a German made, which is Lange und Söhne. It's a tourbillon and a split second watch. So that is one of his favorite watch. So you can see actually he wore this watch if there is some special event, right? And he always like to look at his German watch. So well, I mean, there's a joke that look, you wouldn't know that why he loved Germany so much, and maybe he just want to get his watch service done on time and for free. Yeah, right. Forever, right? So yeah, that's a joke that he actually loved German-made watch.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why he wants to get closer and nearer to Germany.
Right. So I mean, before I ask you about your concluding thoughts, right, about Western leaders and their watches, are there any of the watches that you mentioned that those who are listening can actually grab hold of? You run a shop that provides all this. Could they get a president?
Yes, actually our shop do have president even right now, which is ready stock on the shelf. Yes, I mean that for the Western leaders, I think you can still get Timex easily from any shops. You can still get a Rolex president, not in the boutique anymore, maybe from the grey market or from Watch Club or some places like us. If you want to talk about like just how Putin, I think majority of his collections is way beyond reach for normal people.
It's very limited edition.
Very limited, very expensive to get. And then look, I mean, yes, you still can access to watches worn by the Western leaders, but I can guarantee that you can't access to the watches worn by the Eastern leaders,
which we will talk about in the next episode.
Yes.
Alright guys, thanks for staying all the way until the end. As you can see, we're very excited for the next video. So hopefully you're excited too. And of course guys, thanks for staying all the way until the end, supporting us, watching our videos. And yeah, don't forget, click the subscribe button, click on the bell so that you get updated with new videos. And I'll looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.